So let's go all the way back up to the top and talk about rule number one. Like I said, this one, when I internalized it, it changed everything for me. And every time I have a chance to share this, it changes most people's outlook on sales. See, here's a typical cold call. It goes just like this. How are you today? Let me tell you all about me. Now let me tell you all the reasons that you need what I'm selling. Again, think about when's the last time somebody started a selling conversation with you. Here's an example. In my house, I do, and I'm just going to use a general example here, real life, but very soft and very general. You ready? In my house, I do most of the grocery shopping. In the evenings, I like to cook, so I make most of the dinners for my family. Now, you don't know me, but a little background. I've got a fairly large family, right? My wife and I, 6 kids. Oldest is 18, the youngest is 7. I got 4 boys, 2 girls. Dinner time at my house is like Thanksgiving at most people's houses. So I do most of the grocery shopping. We go to the Sam's and Costco's and all those, right? Because we got to buy in bulk. Last weekend, when my daughter and I, she's 12, right? So she still likes me. So she'll go to Costco with me to help me do the grocery shopping. We walked into Costco and there's a guy standing there and he has a clipboard and he's wearing a polo style shirt and it says DirecTV. So I walk in and he says, "Excuse me, sir, can I ask you about your cable bill? Do you have cable?" I forget exactly what he said. And I said, no, thanks, not interested. And we kept walking. Now, my 12-year-old daughter, she was a little confused. She said, "Dad, you didn't really answer that guy's question. How come?" And I had to explain that while the man was very nice, he genuinely wasn't interested in whether or not we had cable, was he? What you and I know is that he wanted to start a conversation about DirecTV. And the way he did that was by saying, "Can I ask you a question about your cable bill?" Or "Do you have cable?" And what do we know is going to happen immediately after that? He's going to start telling me about all the reasons why cable's bad and why DirecTV is better. He wants to tell me all about him. He wants to tell me everything that he offers. He wants to tell me all the great things that I would get if I dropped cable and signed up with DirecTV. And that's how most cold calls go. Frankly, that's how most sales calls go. Is the individual, the salesperson wants to get out as much stuff as possible to hopefully make us interested and want to have a conversation. They're doing most of the talking, and as a prospect, you and I, we're doing most of the listening. There's a concept that we coach to, and here's what it is. It's called the big lie. The big lie is the impression that most of us bought into when we got into the world of sales that says, here's our job. And well, I'll show it to you right now. See, it goes just like this. Step 1 is we got to do something to grab their attention. Step 2 is once we got their attention, we have to make them interested in what it is that we're selling. Step 3, this is a no-brainer, close the sale, right? But there's a big lie that we all bought into when we first got into sales. Did you spot it? Here's what it is. Make them interested. When we think about this concept, prospecting is not selling. It's not our job to make people interested. Yeah, it's not our job to make people interested. In fact, reluctant prospects rarely get better. Think about some of the easiest sales that you've had a chance to close. You didn't have to sell that person on the idea of even being interested to talk. So instead, let's find out who's already interested and then find out why. If we think about prospecting and finding those good fit customers, the people that are open to having a conversation about what it is that we sell, think about this. When I was, I guess I was 8 or 9 years old, my dad took me to Six Flags. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, think Walt Disney World, but instead of a mouse, I think they got Bugs Bunny. It's an amusement park, rides, roller coasters, games, cotton candy, hot dogs, the works, right? I'm about 8 or 9 years old, and my dad, he took me to Six Flags. And I saw that they had, as we're walking towards the roller coaster, a big long line of booths with games that you can play. And in front of one of these booths is this big monster stuffed gorilla. I mean, he had to be about 5 foot tall, and to an 8 or 9-year-old kid, that's a great idea. Gotta have it. And here was the game. There was this big pool of water, and there was about 50 of those rubber duckies floating around in the pool. And for $1, you got to pick up a duck. And on the bottom of each duck was a sticker. Now, there was a red sticker, and if you picked up a duck with a red sticker, you got some cheap, cheesy kind of toy, probably cost them maybe 25 cents. But then there was a blue sticker. If you picked up a duck and it had a blue sticker, you won some medium-sized stuffed animal. I think back then it was like a little Garfield cat. But if you picked up a duck and it had a green sticker, you would win this 5-foot stuffed gorilla. Easy. So I asked my dad for $1, and I took a look at the pool of ducks bobbing around the water, concentrated real hard, picked up a duck, turned him over. Red sticker. Okay. So I got that little parachute guy, or maybe it was a piece of candy, and I asked my dad for another $1. He gives it to me. I'm taking a look at all the ducks. I'm trying to pick the best one. Pick up another duck. Red sticker again. Well, I'm not deterred. I'm going to keep trying. I say, Dad, can I have another $1? And here's when he cued me in. One, because I'm sure he didn't want to drop $50 with me picking ducks. But he said, Bob, there's 50, 60 ducks floating around in that pond. And I'd be willing to bet that if we turned them all over, here's what we'd find. That out of those 60 ducks, 55 of them have red stickers. The remaining 5 ducks, 4 of those have blue stickers. And if we looked at all the ducks, Bob, what we'd probably see is that just one of those ducks has that green sticker you're looking for. So why am I telling you that story? If we think about prospecting for new business in the exact same way, right? We're just turning over ducks to find out, do we have that green sticker? What we're doing is we're finding out initially who's open to having a conversation about what it is that we sell. That's all we want to know. Who's open to having a conversation about what it is that we sell? And then we're going to talk about some strategies and techniques on ways to find out why. One of the biggest problems that most of us have when it comes to prospecting for new business is we get in our own way. We cause most of the problems that we face. Now, here's what I mean. Have you ever thought about calling on a company or an individual and then talked yourself out of it? I know I have. You've identified somebody that you're pretty sure they buy what you sell, or that they would be interested in hearing more about it. But the more you think about it, the more you talk yourself out of calling them, well, they probably already have it, or they're probably already connected with so-and-so, or they have no reason to want to talk to me. They don't even know who we are, or we're priced too high. All those excuses. If you can relate to that, here's a great mantra. Remember, prospecting is not selling, but let's take that one step further. It's our job to offer, and it's their job to decide. See, what we're doing is stop making decisions for people you don't know. Initially, all we want to find out is, are they open to having a conversation about what it is that we sell? And we're going to get rid of all the excuses that we can make. I don't know about you, but I can pretty much talk myself into or out of anything. If you're just as good as that as I am, here's a great way to stop that. It's our job to offer, and it's their job to decide. See, we're going to walk into this, and what we're going to spend time coaching to is the idea, that the concept that amateur salespeople are concentrated on that last step. How can I make a sale? And they totally miss the next step. Instead of concentrating on that last step, you and I, we're going to concentrate on the next step. And it starts with finding out who's open to having a conversation about what it is that we sell.